They've done it again. Johanna Runt and Stephen Mitchell are the APTA national champions for the second year in a row.
There you have it, your women's ATTA national champions, Florentina Harnish and Anna Maria Zabori.
Tester Construction Company, Pena's Italian Market, La Cabra Brewery, Andrew Hawker, the Rackets Realtor, and School U. I'm Patty Hogan, along with Lauren Mandel, bringing you a round of 16s match between Amy Shea and Jolene Sutter, the tournament number 2 seeds, and Lynn Kiro and Vanessa Petrini, an unseeded team in this event. Hey, Lauren, can you help us identify the players? Hey, Lauren, can you identify the players on the court for us? You know, I'm going to identify the players on the court. The near side of the screen, the lefty to the right, we see the back of Jolene Sutter. Her partner on the left side, the righty hitting the overhead, the tall, lean righty, that's none other than Amy Shea. On the far side of the court, in the deuce court, is Vanessa Petrini. She's got the white top, the light top on. And in the ad court is Lynn Kiro, who just threw up a beautiful lob. Lauren, welcome. And we have all our communications working well here for an exciting round of 16 women's match. I just introduced the players on the court, Lauren. And why don't we take a look at the draw together?
Good. Okay, well, you see here we are at the very bottom of the draw. The number 2 seeds, Shea and Sutter, against the new team of Kiro and Perini. I'm really looking forward to this, Patty. I haven't seen Kiro and Perini play, but I've heard a lot of good things about them.
Yeah, Lauren, they are a talented team. They are relatively unknown in the sport of platform tennis, but we got to know them at Short Hills, as you were talking about their career highlight win in their first season of play over none other than Mirta Moldenveld and Annika Cooper.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big-time win in the first round of Short Hills. They followed it up with a close match against the team that they're playing today, a straight-set loss, but I think it was closer than the score.
Sure, and the score of that match was 6-2, 6-4, Lauren, and I had an opportunity to talk to Vanessa Petrini this morning. I know her well. She's a teaching pro in the Summit, Short Hills, Bedminster area, and she said that match, just the first set went fast, totally pace of play dictated by Amy Shea and Jolene Sutter.
And if they see any sort of a weakness, whether it be, you know, because you're new, or they find any kind of weakness in your game, they're going to exploit it, and they are going to be looking to play at their pace, and it's not easy to slow, to counter that, and that's what this team has to do.
Lauren, I'm going to change direction for one moment and take an opportunity to share with the paddle community something devastating. It's with a heavy heart that we share the devastating and tragic news that one of our game's most endearing people, George Wilkinson, died in a car crash last evening.
Yeah, it's really, we're all reeling from the news, and our thoughts and prayers go to his family and his fiancee, Kristen, his friends, and the members of the Englewood Field Club. It's just an unfathomable tragedy, Patty, and everyone is really very shaken up and very, very, very sad.
We woke up to that sad news, and here we go. We're going to bring you the best we can in explaining what an exciting matchup this is going to be. We're going to shift gears, and life is fragile, we know, Lauren. So we'll take the opportunity and seize today and talk about these amazing players.
Yep. Okay,
so
we see them taking their serves, almost ready to start.
Yeah, so on paper, Shea and Sutter have to be overwhelming favorites here, Lauren, would be my take on this match. They've had an amazing role thus far this season. We'll talk about that as we get into the match a little bit. And Petrini and Kira are just two of the exciting the players in our women's game. And I mean, Lauren, I can't even. I'll tell you a little bit about them in a second.
Ryan, these players.
Amy Shea is in the backcourt, and from Darien, Connecticut, Jolene Sutter in the news court.
Go ahead, Lauren. Sorry.
Have won to serve and have elected to receive.
Okay, so we heard from our umpire, Joe Rogan, and looks like the Perini and Kiro and Petrini are going to receive serve. And I think we're just about
ready to go. We'll share many more insights on these players. We've done a little bit of intel gathering, talking to some of our friends in the community who know the team of Petrini and Kira well, and they have high hopes in this match, and they think this could be a brawl out here. A three-setter. Get ready, Lauren. I hope you had a good lunch.
I love a good three-setter, but we should say, as I think you started to say, that Shea and Sutter have just really exploded up the rankings this year. They're currently ranked number 4. They've gotten to 3. They won the Western New Englands, got to 3 other finals, and lost every time to Hanish and Zabori. No shame in that. So they've really been, I would say, the best team. And they had 1 loss to Elliott and Rodesno. But other than that, they haven't lost to anyone, and they've been probably the second best team.
Yeah, they did go out to Curtis and Andreikova in the Witch event as well.
Yep, right.
I just picked that up on our notes. And we'll they are the veteran team of these two because of Amy Shea. And so you have that as a factor. You know, Lauren, I like to make bold choices when a match starts just to have fun with my fellow commentator.
Patty, let's hear it.
I think we talk about who's going to need a fast start here. I think if Petrini and Kiro get off to a fast start, they could take this in 2 sets. That's my bold prediction.
I wouldn't want to get behind against Shea and Sutter, so I think that you're right. That's definitely their best chance. And we'll see. You know, they're going to have to play a great match, and we'll see if they can do it. I'm very excited to see what they've got.
If it goes 3 sets, I mean, we've seen Amy Shea over the years play so many 3-set matches.
Yep.
With Cynthia Dartis, they were an amazing team. They often went out, got out of the boxes fast, won the first set. Then they were so nice that they just, decided they'd like to be out there for 3 hours in every match, and it took them 3 hours to win every match. That's going to be a factor here as these tournaments go deeper and we get later in the season. Sometimes, you've got to, if you have an opportunity for a straight set win, you've really got to buckle down and get that win and be in great shape to move on to the next match.
I will say, I think Amy Shea really enjoys, one of the reasons she really enjoys playing with Jolene Sutter is she's young, she's quick, she can go all day. So here we go. Jolene Sutter is starting us off to serve.
Shea, Sutter, leads 15-love.
Lauren, definitely one of the strategies from Kiro Petrini today would be to drive a lot to the middle and force the lefty-righty team of Shea and Sutter to come up with some of those awkward volleys where they possibly have to flip their paddles over to their forehand.
That's a good strategy.
We're going to see a little slightly different style of play out of that ad court from Lynn Kiro, Lauren, where she just will pummel off of the deck. Probably will block a huge percentage of the overheads coming her way. I mean, she's a remarkable talent. This is her first year playing competitive paddle. And, I mean, she has a huge upside. Shea and Sutter as a team don't hit a ton of overheads into the corners, Lauren. And I think that could be a factor in the match because maybe they can they're not able to take advantage of Kiro's kind of, inexperience in those screens.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Amy Shea is pretty good at getting them in that net, but if Kiro can block them...
40-15.
Well, she's a tall woman, and she can block. She can block a lot better than I can, Lauren.
She's a little taller than you, Patty.
40.
And there's that forehand return from Petrini I was talking about in our announcing warm-ups earlier, Lauren. I mean, she pounces the ball, forehand or backhand.
Like they both do.
Yeah, they're going to hit. They are pure ball strikers, Lauren. It is so fun to watch them.
Yep, both college tennis players.
Petrini, former #1, Rutgers University, played #1 singles and doubles for a big part of her college career. And Lynn Kiro played out of Texas Tech.
It's going to be important for Kiro and Petrini not to speed up their overheads at the net, because that's just what Sutter and Shea will like to see. And that's sometimes what an inexperienced team will do.
Sure, I did talk to Petrini a little bit about that this morning. I just said, what's your plan? How do you like to handle the net? What are your thoughts? And I think each of them likes playing both sides of it of the net at the court, Lauren, and they both love their roller overheads. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of emerges here. Petrini has a beautiful two-handed backhand up the middle, Lauren, which I think she'll get a lot of looks off of Shea's overhead and Sutter's overheads here today.
They both look very relaxed, Petrini and Kiro. It's unusual to see in a to us new team.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed in Short Hills with Shea and Sutter, a little bit in their final, in the match they lost in the finals, sometimes they're a little bit off the net. And I think that Kiro and Petrini both hit with enough top that they're going to be able to hit those dipping balls that are going to be interesting, to see how Shea and Sutter, do they adjust their positioning and get in a little bit closer to the net than they would against some other opponents.
Yeah, I mean, Amy Shea has always volleyed off the net. She's so good at it. You feel like she's making it harder on herself, but that's where she's comfortable.
Yeah, and I think it works really, really well against most people in the world. We can see it's a tough matchup with the likes of, let's say, Hanish and Zabori, but everybody is a tough matchup with Zabori and Hanish, as they're undefeated, as we know, this year. But I think what Floor and what Hanish and Zabori do well as a team is you get that unbelievable and relentless pressure from Zabori out of that ad court. I'll be curious, because I've heard that Kiro possesses some of those similar tools, and she might be able to do the same thing here, really apply some pressure with some blitzing if...
1-0.
Well, she made 4 or 5 errors that game, Kiro, so, I mean, that's just a little bit of a nervous start. I'm sure she'll rein it in, and it'll be a different story.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and this is the first match they've been on the live streaming, so that's nerve-wracking in itself for a lot of players, but also a great opportunity to come up against Shea and Sutter here in this second-round match. Great shot of Manufacturers Golf Club. Who's that umpire, Lauren? Who's up there in the chair?
Joe Ryan is up there in the chair. He looks underdressed to me for this day, to be up there.
I got it.
Yeah, Petrini's got more match experience out of that deuce court, Lauren, than Piro for sure out of that ad court. And we'll see if maybe Petrini can be the one to
that was a heck of a pass.
Yeah, take a lead here and settle Lynn down here in the early going. Lauren,
So-
about 3 years ago, it was the first time I ever saw Petrini hit a ball. We were over at Short Hills Club. She was working for Dave Broderick over there. And Dave's like, oh, you got to hit with this woman. She's amazing. Rutgers grad, come on, Patty. So we hit some, and after 1 minute of hitting, I just said to Dave, oh, my Lord, she is the real deal. Just a ball striker, forehand, backhand. And no matter what drives anybody got off against her, she just stood up there and handled it with the volley. So she's really got all the tools to continue her ascent in this sport.
Yeah, and she just looks very easy power, relaxed and easy.
40-15.
There's that return from Amy Shea that she just places perfectly.
And you see she got Kiro off the net there, Lauren.
40-30.
You know, Kira's got a lot of reach, a lot of height. And, you know, sometimes, especially on this side, when you're standing up there and getting ready for that return, you tend to play in a little closer when you know that a massive drive's coming your way.
Deuce.
I think how they handle those volleys is going to be key for them in this match. Not worried about them on the overheads,
Yeah.
a little bit more on the volleys.
I've noticed that I think Petrini needs to come in more towards the middle. You saw she got caught hitting a forehand volley there. She's just staying too wide.
Well, she has a lot of confidence in her partner's reach.
Yeah.
Right there, that's the lob from Jolene. You know, causes Kira and Petrini to switch places. They handled it beautifully. Might not be the way that, you know, you'd rather almost have Petrini just shift to her right side as we see the back of them, but they pulled it the other way.
Advantage, Kara Petrini.
Another big forehand.
Yeah, and that's what Petrini can do. She does not need consecutive shots. As you said, she's got the easy power. You are spot on with that. Again, you know, Kiro getting kind of pretzeled a little bit by Amy Shea right there on that return to serve. We'll see if she, you know, she really does have to go in closer. I think right now and keep her paddle head up higher, up above her hands.
If I'm Amy Shea, I'm hitting the same ball again.
For sure.
Right? See if she can handle it.
Yep. Kira took a step over to her right there. That was, you know, really mature play from Petrini. Said, Lynn, you get over there. I'll come up and cover the middle. We'll give Shea the cross-court shot.
Deuce.
It was a good try by Sutter. It was the right place. She had the middle.
Yep, and she's got to have that awareness. You saw Kiro again backing off the net. There was wide open space in front of Kiro. A lot of space between Kiro and the net. And I just think that's where players can recognize that, and you don't have to hit with so much pace and a flatter shot. If you can go a little bit off speed or use a little bit of top to get that ball to dip, that works really well. Learned a couple weeks ago at a Pro Flight event, Vanessa Petrini came out and played with Lisa Lalich, then another new, amazingly talented woman who's teaching out at Essex Hunt Club with her husband Sven. And they actually beat, in a Pro Flight Breaker, which is first to 15, they beat them in 3 sets. They beat Gabby Nicolescu and Roxy Anika. So these women have so much skills, and they have no fear.
No, and it's great to see some new talent. It's really exciting.
The winner of this match potentially could come out against the team that's highest rank coming through possibly would be the team of Allison Morgan and Charlotte Sikora, but they'll potentially have a tough matchup with Manley and Ruoff if form follows, Lauren. I haven't had a chance to check the update on the draw. I didn't see that score in yet, but I like to predict, and I go in those first round matches with the higher ranked team in the country for sure.
Well, you know what the score was?
Which match?
Morgan Sikora beat Manley Ruoff 2-6, 6-love, 6-love. Go figure.
Wow.
Well, that was an interesting game because they got out of that game, Kiro and Petrini, but it wasn't easy, and I think they won pretty much, even though they were serving, I think they pretty much won all their points from the baseline. They're going to have to figure out they're getting caught on a lot of lobs, a lot of the Shea Sutter lobs, and getting pushed back. They're going to have to figure out how to prevent that. Yeah,
there's another good look at the top half of the draw, Lauren, and tournament number 1 seeds are Annika Cooper and Carrie Delmonico. They've not played a tournament together. They're the number 1 seeds as a function of adding up their average scores as individuals, and you combine them, and they came out as a number 1 seeded team here. We have Anika and Nicolescu, who are number 3 seeds in this event, and Jessica Guido and Jacqueline Williamson are the tournament number 4 seeds.
Shea Sutter lead 15 love.
Yeah, I so far think that Kiro and Petrini, their positioning at the net is really getting them into trouble. Because they're doing everything else great.
Yeah, well, their instincts from tennis just take over from the baseline, Lauren, but your instincts at the net almost go in opposition from tennis to platform tennis. And, you know, as you just said, that's exactly what's up in the air right now. And actually, I just got a correction. I so screwed up that Flor and Lisa played together. They were the ones in the Pro Flight event who took out Anika and Nicolescu, and that's we are grateful to Martin for being all over and keeping us telling the truth and nothing but the truth, Martin. Thank you. Martin is playing in the Philly Open with the one and only Max Le Prévert. Look forward to that new combination.
A little too far away from that one.
And just not aware of what was in front of her right there. And that's the problem when you drive and you run toward the side screen and not moving forward, you can't see where the net players were. And both, you know, she had both players double up on one side of the court. A whole other side of the court was open. And as we say, Lauren, it's easy to hit those open spots from here.
Lucky for us.
Lauren, I think starting out this match, so much pressure. If there's pressure on a team, it's on Petrini and Kiro and the big time here on the live stream. But I think as this match develops, and I think if Petrini and Kiro can keep this thing close, we can get to 3-all or 4-3 in this first set. I think it's going to be fascinating to see if the pressure shifts over to Shea and Sutter.
Yeah. Well, you know, as we've said, Shea has been dealing with this pressure for a zillion years, and Sutter has had many opportunities this season. They've had a lot of pivotal matches, and they've come through. So I think that that they're used to dealing with the pressure, and this match could be no different, like you said, if it gets close.
Yeah, and you look at their results, Lauren. They rarely go out in a round of 16s in an event. They rarely go out in a quarter. I mean, that's the testament to the strength of them as a combination, you know. And I think what Sutter lacks in experience, she makes up for, and just pure grit. And she's resilient, and she's a competitor out here.
Shea Sutter lead, love 15.
Okay, this is our first look at the Kiro serve.
I heard she hits a kick serve into 2 screens, Lauren. You can see how wide she came in for that forehand volley.
15 all.
You know, she kind of, we're used to seeing paddle players go toward the net, toward the middle service line, Lauren. And you could see Kiro came in almost like a tennis player, just splitting the court in half there on her first volley.
That's what they're doing. Both of them are coming in that way.
You know, Lauren, I'm sure you remember when you came over from tennis to paddle. I remember I did. I had to get hit by a significant number of balls before I was convinced that I wasn't, you know, that I had to go to a backhand volley favorite. You know, and that's just one of the things from tennis. You have to leave. You can't look for your forehand all the time. You have to look for your backhand.
When you are convinced, it's not so easy it's not so easy to get yourself to commit to that backhand. You have too much muscle memory the other way. So it takes a while with some people. Some people find it easy to switch.
Yeah, what a beautiful service motion there. Real good soft hands from Kira on that first volley. But a lot of pressure from Shane Sutter. Shane Sutter did in their match at Short Hills, Lauren, against Vanessa and Lynn. They on purpose moved to have their overheads on the outside, toward the outsides of the court, which is, you know, so opposite from traditional lefty-righty switching to get their forehand overheads both in the middle.
You can see why, right? Against a team that drives so much, they want to have their backhand volleys in the middle. Interesting. Oh, there's a good lob.
It actually improves their ability, Shane Sutter's ability, to hit into double screens, Lauren.
Yeah.
I think that's part of what could be helpful to them in doing that.
That was a terrific point. Hey, Patty, I'd like to see that two-screen serve now.
Okay. I think this is where Petrini has to play.
We are tied at 2.
Her position's interesting. She's holding her position, not shifting to her right when Lynn's hitting the overhead behind her. If she gets hit on one follow-through, I'm pretty confident she'll nudge over to her right. But here we go. We've got a battle, as I thought was a possibility here today at 2-all, and this is Jolene Sutter serving. This is Petrini returning out of the deuce court. She can crack her forehand or her backhand. I wouldn't be surprised to see her take some up the line as well here, mixing it up, especially given Shea's positioning. And I think that's a vulnerable spot. A little bit for Sutter, what I've seen. I mean, that was a great rip. The pace off of Petrini's paddle, it's just this quick pace. It's on your paddle before you even have a chance to set your paddle. And right there, I mean, she can break down people with her pace. Again, Shea Sutter, no rush to switch places and move their overhead to the middle. There they go. Yep.
Short.
There she got it. Amy Shea falling backwards into her forehand.
I like the shot from Petrini, Lauren.
It was a good spot. She didn't hit it too hard. It was high. It was hard to handle.
And right there, you know, I've seen Shea play 1,000 paddle matches. I rarely see her hit a really hard overhead one way and a really hard overhead the other way. But she knows she has to get the balls into the screens because the ground strokes both these women have. You know, forehand from Kira and forehand backhand from Petrini. They're going to pay a price if they leave a ball short on the deck.
Yeah, that's a very good point. We'll see if she continues to do that. Go back and forth, side to side in the screens.
Yeah, we're in the middle of one of the most remarkable seasons with Hanish and Zabori, Lauren, undefeated since last year's national championship win. They have now won how many tournaments? Six straight tournaments, I think, this season. We'll talk about that a little bit. They're so nice of them to stay in Connecticut and New Jersey this weekend and let all these other teams battle it out, because national ranking points and seeds for nationals in a couple weeks out in Long Island are definitely in question here. And there's a couple of teams, including Shea and Sutter, who really need to have a strong tournament here to ensure a fairly high seed, or to guarantee they wouldn't have to play Hanish Zabori before a quarter, let's call it, or 16s.
I mean, Hanish Zabori have the #1 seed wrapped up, and after that, it's a little bit up for grabs.
Yeah, it's.
So go ahead, Patty.
Oh no, you go, Lauren.
I was going to say, interesting so far. It feels like everyone's still kind of feeling each other out. It doesn't look like, I don't feel like anyone is clearly a favorite here right now.
Which is amazing when you have a #2 team in the country.
Yeah.
In this tournament, the #2 seeds. But, that's the great thing, and that's the depth we're seeing in the women's game.
Petrini leads 15 love.
I think that you mentioned it earlier. Petrini looks so relaxed out here, Lauren.
It really does. I mean, I'm very impressed with, Kira looks pretty relaxed too, but Petrini really looks like she's just having a light hit around. I always feel like when I played, my knuckles would turn white. I'd be so tense and gripping the paddle so hard, and that's just the opposite of how you want to be.
Do you play golf, Lauren?
No.
They say that's the key in golf. That's what I've learned from my golf pro, Dave Broderick.
30.
That you can't do, it's not a vice grip. And in paddle, you can see the benefits of these players when they are relaxed, and I mean, the wonderful gets they make out of the screens, the variety of spins on their overheads, dependent upon grip changes, the amount of pressure you apply to the grips. And so that definitely holds true. Lauren, what did it take for you to go from white knuckle to feeling comfortable in a match? For you?
I'm not sure it ever happened. And I'm not kidding.
Oh, come on. I don't believe that for a heartbeat. For a second, Lauren.
I was never relaxed on the court. To my detriment.
I got relaxed when there was a lot of screenplay. Like if I was on the baseline and I was feeling a little bit of the nerves, I love just playing shots out of the screens and just being able to, play at my own pace of play. And once I could do that, obviously I had to learn the screens to do that. Then I could put myself at ease. in a way, Lauren, I like Petrini, even though she's the shorter of the two players. I actually like it when she handles the overheads for their team, because I feel like Kiro does shift over and gets out of her way a little bit more than Vanessa does. And maybe Vanessa thinks Kiro's so tall that it doesn't matter where she stands, but I feel like their positioning is almost a little bit better with Petrini to the left of the two players when they get to the net. We'll see if that holds true.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that. They're just not having a tremendous amount of success at the net. Shea and Sutter are doing a good job of picking them apart. And you'll see Shea and Sutter like to talk things over. They're big strategists. So they're talking about where Shea is going to serve, what they're going to do.
And talk about nerves, I think that's how Amy Shea always has calmed her nerves when she plays matches. I know when she does a lot of chats, little private, little talks, it's to reestablish her comfort zone at that moment.
Yeah, people have different ways of trying to get their heart rate down, right? They can chat with their partner, they can walk around the baseline, they can look at their paddle, whatever works. These points are going quickly now.
Yeah, key time in the set for Kiro in particular here. She does need to settle in just a little bit more. Maybe she just needs to crack a forehand and,
Yeah.
I feel like she just needs an explosive shot that could kind of free her up a little bit. And I think the key thing is Petrini's shot selection, brilliant so far in this set, Lauren, because she's really picking and choosing when she's going for it, and she's giving the misses to Kiro on the baseline, and Kiro needs them right now.
We have an update from another match. Curtis Andrekova are up 5-2 against Cindy Prendergast and Lauren Zink.
Hall of Famers Cindy Prendergast and Lauren Zink. Speaking of Hall of Famers, a game will induct two of our greatest women's players, Vicky Stoklasova and Anna Brazova, and Long Island Nationals coming up, Lauren. We look forward to celebrating the accomplishments of Anna and Vicky in our sport. They were part of the game when it transitioned. A lot of international players came in, and we've never looked back, and the game has never had, a deeper field, I would say, in the women's game. And that's why these 32 matches, 16 matches are so competitive for these players. I mean, Nationals is going to be another awesome event.
Yes, and well-deserved to Anna and Vicky.
Yep.
Okay, here we are trading games again. 4-3 for Kiro and Petrini. New ball.
All right, this is the moment we thought could happen. It could be a 4-3, could be close, and then does the pressure shift here now? All of a sudden, Sutter and Shea are in a battle.
I'm guessing they feel like they were in a battle from the first point, and they treated it as such.
Kiro and Petrini played a match at Westchester, Lauren. As you know, they went out losing in the 16s to Morgan and Sikora. One of the top 8 teams in the country, 6-4 in the third set. So when I talk about a lack of fear, they have no fear. They just play. And they just know they're going to get better and better every single match. Every single match that, their trajectory increases, I would say.
I think that's the key. I mean, they have a huge upside, and they're just getting to know all the players and the teams, and how to play them, and you know, it's an exciting time for them. Like you said, they're only going up.
See, I like the play. I like
Yeah.
this setup for Petrini and Kiro. Whoopsie.
Kiro's off the court.
See, that's beautiful positioning and covering for each other right there.
Jolene Sutter covers that hard roller really, really very well.
15-30.
Yeah, and Sutter had a beautiful shot up the line, and that's the thing, you know, they don't shift over as much as some teams that we're used to seeing. Not yet. They'll figure out how to adjust. But that was a great rip from Sutter on a huge point. She answered a few questions right there.
They're just giving Amy Shea too many, well, they got away with one there, too many hard overheads in that corner. She's just dialing in her backhand.
Well, Petrini mentioned that to me prior to us going on the air. And she says, we're thinking we go hard at Amy. And I'm like, okay. Because I don't say too much. I just gather intel.
It doesn't look like that particular shot is benefiting them, but, you know.
I don't think I would do that play. See, this is the thing. The athleticism from Kiro and Petrini. They, you know, a lot of teams would have been out on this point 3 or 4 times already, and they were able to cover. They've got that quickness, the anticipation, the athleticism.
The let cord beat them, though, and now it's break point for 4-all.
And they know that was a rough break, but
Yeah, nothing you can do there.
yeah, Shea's standing way over, you know, wide of court, Lauren, and it's taking away Kira's ability to hit that serve that we've heard so much about, kicking into 2 screens, hitting the side screen and the back screen.
You can see she does have a very nice serve, though.
Lauren, there's a couple young players in the game, and Kiro is among them, who I've heard. Wouldn't be surprised. They have every tool to possibly get to the grab the golden ring and win a national title in open play. Not to put any pressure on her as a player, Lauren.
Oh, look, I'm sure she's happy. She'll be happy to hear you say that.
40
So that's
all.
what they had success with at Short Hills, a little bit of that Kiro overhead where, I mean, that long reach, the roller, you saw how far her grip went over, and she just pulled Shea way in towards the court. Shea couldn't come up with that.
That was a good overhead. It was deep, and it wasn't really a ball that Amy Shea could drive successfully, even though she tried.
what's interesting is a majority of the overheads Kiro has hit when she's the player to our right here in this setup. She's gone straight ahead at Amy Shea. I'm sure Petrini's mentor, Dave Broderick, mentioned the merits of you know, the advantage of hitting straight ahead as that player to the right is you don't cause a shift now for your team, and you don't, you know, momentarily create an opening for the other team if you don't hit a perfect shot.
Right.
So here,
Scrambling. Yep, exactly.
so we are at 5-3, and not a shocker, amazingly, because of the talent of Kieran Petrini, but kind of a shocker because of the success of Shea and Sutter. So
Jessica Guillot and Jacqueline Williamson are up 5-love in their match against Hoover and Stallings.
exciting to see Guillot and Williamson playing. They haven't gotten that many tournaments in. Hopefully we get a chance to see them as the day develops and the tournament develops.
Good move from Kiro. Amy Shea was a sitting duck there.
See, and I thought that would be a part of their game plan, to apply some pressure. And Kiro and Petrini have great hands, and, you know, I think can benefit from creating some of those exchanges against Shea and Sutter.
Curtis and Andrekova closed out that first set against Prendergast and Zink, 6-4.
That serve looked long. And
Yep.
15-30.
okay, now I'm nervous.
Oh, she missed it wide.
I thought she did.
Yep.
15,
All right, two
40.
set points, Patty.
Fine time for a chat. Kind of
Interesting,
predictable.
if they're gonna stay with their overheads on the outsides and their backhand and their volleys in the middle, then I would think they would be going in for the screens. But on that point, they didn't.
Game, Kira Petrini. They take
And there's the first set.
6-3.
Wow, we're going to have a few words from our sponsor, PaddlePro.com. For over 20 years, Paddle Pro has been recognized as an industry leader in platform tennis. The knowledge, expert advice, vast inventory, and ultimate customer service will help any player find the perfect equipment to take your game to the next level. Paddle Pro is the only website to carry all platform tennis brands. For more information, go to www.paddlepro.com.
Lauren,
Well,
we'll be
Patty.
right back in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel presented by eNet Live.
Done. Great job. Hey, good stuff to you.
Patty, good job.
Yeah, a lot of fun. You guys look great out there. How long have you been playing?
Who, me? Oh, I've been playing my whole life. How about you?
Wow, I only started playing when I retired.
Someone say retired?
looking good out there, Eli.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the APTA Tour. I'm Patty Hogan along with Lauren Mandel from the Philly Open. We are in a round of 16s matchup. And we have just seen the number 2 seeds, Shea and Sutter, lose 6-3 in the first set to the young and upcoming team of Vanessa Petrini. Vanessa is serving, and Lynn Kiro. We see the back of Lynn at the net.
15 all.
Yeah, we're on upset alert here. Patty, what do you think the difference in that set was?
So I think that the loss that Petrini and Kiro had, 2 and 4, to Shea and Sutter at Short Hills was an eye-opening experience for them. And I think that in this game, you know, you learn so much by your losses, more so than by any of your wins, I think. And you know, Vanessa, under Dave's tutelage, Dave Broderick out at Fiddler's Elbow, I mean, she's a strategist, and she's taken to learning the ins and outs in this game. And so, you know, she had thought about 4 or 5 things that I was shocked that she mentioned to me this morning. So I think that I think most importantly, I think the tempo, the pace of play, and I think understanding, you know, who's feeling it and who's not. And Kiro got off to a little bit of a rough start there, but Petrini was rock solid, really, you know, super steady. And they've just kind of, you know, we've seen their athleticism really enable them to come up and offset some of the offensive threats that are coming from Shea and Sutter. And they're handling it now, and they've adjusted a little bit in their position at the net, Lauren. And the greatest factor, no fear.
Yeah, and Kiro really settled in after those first couple games and played quite well also. So it's one thing to win the first set, it's another to win the match. So we'll have to see. Whoa, there's a big backhand from Jolene Sutter.
Sutter will tag more shots off her backhand than her forehand from what we've seen throughout the season. And I like her taking an initiative here. I mean, she's going to have to, because they've got Shea sort of, their overheads have, you know, kept Shea playing pretty deep. You don't see her really like flying through, creating havoc up from that ad court right now. So I love the play from Sutter to create a little bit of havoc of her own.
Yeah, she played two excellent. She followed up that big return with the blitz and got her team off to a good start in the second set.
Yeah, following this match, we are just starting our weekend of coverage, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We are going to be on the air late tonight. You're going to be on the air late tonight, Lauren, way past my bedtime. Thanks for doing that. I mean, I'm older, Lauren. I need to go to bed earlier. Following this match, we're going to have a women's quarterfinals, and then that will be followed by the women's semis, possibly around, we're shooting for a 7 o'clock target time tonight. Saturday morning, we'll start off with 10 a.m. with our coverage with a men's round of 16, followed by at noon with the women's final. And then it will be men's paddle throughout the remainder of Saturday with the men's final slated to be played 9:30 on Sunday morning out of the beautiful Manufacturers Country Club here in Fort Washington, Pennsylvania. What a great club under the direction of Scott Falatek. He's done a real good job on behalf of the APTA and his willingness to take on and run these events. It's a huge undertaking. And Scott does a great job.
That was interesting. You don't often see someone hit an overhead off of a volley.
30, 15.
Hey, you know, Lauren, with the rise in the talent in this game and the new players, there's stuff that we've never seen. We couldn't even dream of some of the combinations of shots that they can play.
I think these are very important few points here for Kiro and Petrini. They just don't want to get into a big hole here. Shea and Sutter are really good front runners.
Enjoying the action are Kevin Landy and Liz Landy from Chatham, big paddle fans. They're appreciative of the broadcasting, especially the tips coming from you, Lauren. Not so much me, mostly you. Lauren, should we put the mics down and just come back in an hour and a half for the third set?
Yeah, honestly. Yeah. I mean, look, all credit to Kiro and Petrini, but I mean, much more experienced players in this situation have won the first set against Amy Shea and lost the second, and there's just not that much separating these two teams. I'd be surprised if it doesn't go 3.
But here's the deal. Kiro just hit a really kind of like beautifully confident forehand drive. That tells me something. I mean, if her level of play goes up 20%, Shea and Sutter are going home. Well, they're not going home. They're going into the reprieve.
That's true. That's true.
I mean,
look, it's all about sustaining the level, right?
For sure, Lauren.
And trying to take away that big return by using the I formation, Shea and Sutter.
Advantage, Shea, Sutter.
Again, we pointed that is, the weakness in Kiro's game is just her inexperience with screenplay. That ball probably was headed to the Knicks. She tried to block it, but the problem with blocking when the ball has a lot of pace on it is it's much harder to control. It could spin off your paddle. You can't quite find your range to put it in play.
Wait for 2 love. Did it hit her? I must have hit Sutter.
But see right there, that play, you see Petrini unload. They unload on the shot, and they both came in. And that was one of the plays that I did talk to Petrini about, that they felt real confident applying pressure and moving forward. Not a traditional way to do it with, usually you see one player go in and blitz. Not necessarily both of them, but they have so much confidence in their hands, their reaction, their athletic ability, that they got away with it. That was close, that little floater volley from Shea. I thought it was, but it caught. It stayed in, thankfully.
Good job by Petrini getting out of the way of that. It's not so easy. Your instinct when you're up there like that is to stick your paddle out. Oh, she had a good look at that.
So one of the things when players do get switched on the baseline, like Petrini just switched over to the ad court. She got a ball of life for her skill set on her forehand, but every other forehand she's hit so far in this match, was moving sort of away from her body. That was a little bit of a different, ball strike, and she just got, kind of went for too much on the first drive in like a new spot on the court. And Lauren, what I mean by that, just to offer an explanation, I think when you're used to playing one side, you get a lot of drives. You're used to the ball moving into your body, away from your body, based on where the ball's coming from your opponents. Then all of a sudden, you find yourself in the other court, and the ball and the spin is just a little bit different, and it does cause a little bit of a, a fumbly type of response, maybe the first look you get.
Do you think Sutter thought that ball was going out? She just let it go.
Yeah, I mean, I always think when you're digging your way out of a hole and they're digging, if it's close on that sideline and you can't get that ball off the back screen, you are on the side of playing the shot, if you can.
Close, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yep, close. But again, Kira's feeling a little more comfortable, a little bigger rips at the ball here.
Curtis and Andrekova are off the court. Straight set victory over Prendergast Singh.
Three-time national champions, Prendergast Singh.
I'm curious to see if these big returns keep causing trouble for Shea and Sutter, if they decide to stay back, mix it up. I mean, they are changing their formations of the net, so we'll have to see if they employ that one too.
I don't think I've ever seen them stay back.
No,
But this could be one of those matches where they might have to.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing okay. They've lost a few points, but if you start to lose all of them, you got to try to something else.
We are tied at 1.
Big game. That was a big, big game. Good job by Kiro and Petrini to pull that game out.
Yeah, this next 15-minute stretch is what this second set's going to be all about, Lauren. I just kind of feel like Shea and Sutter going to have to pull out a little magic here.
Yeah, they are. They're going to have to hope that their opponent's level goes down and they get, a little overwhelmed by the moment, which we have seen no signs of.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, truthfully. Petrini started playing a couple years ago, played with Jill Fair, and kind of continued to teach, just loves, is a machine teaching tennis and paddle, but kind of had to really engage in the game and the mental aspects. She had the physical, but it wasn't an instant draw for her. The mentality required to become a top-level paddle player, and now she's drinking the Kool-Aid on paddle, and she's just impassioned by it. And, what a huge upside she has. If she can keep herself, really involved and jump in and play tournaments, because as you know, you only really get better and better and better playing against the game's best.
It's very different playing against top players who hit with pace and spin and are so smart than other players you're going to practice with. So it's important to play those tournaments.
15.
You can see Petrini, she's got the hop step going at the net. She's totally engaged in this moment.
40-15.
There goes Sutter.
I like the play. I just like her posing some kind of a threat.
They lead 2 games to 1.
Yeah, she's a great mover, Sutter. They should take advantage of it.
Yeah, and I think what happens, Lauren, is there's a tendency when you're out there to say, okay, this match isn't going great for our team so far. So I think the game has gone past the point where you can hang out and just lob all day and work your way into it. You still have to take an initiative, look for your shots, and apply some pressure. Because I personally think that's what they're going to have to do to win this second set.
Yeah, well, absolutely. You see that Kiro and Petrini have too many big shots to just keep the ball in play, right? They have the rollers, they have the big drives. You have to do something to counter that, to get yourself opportunities.
Shout out to our buddy Mark Innes, who is enjoying the action. done a wonderful job on behalf of the APTA, capturing great moments on the court with the live streaming. He's done a great job with My Paddle. Thanks, Mark, for tuning in.
There they switched.
What a beautiful,
15, love.
beautiful play. How Kiro came out of that, off that backside screen, followed the play. I loved her movement and controlled swing.
I think she missed it, though.
I think she did. I mean, besides that, it was great.
Yeah. No, it was. It was the right shot. It was a good play. They played a good point. All good till the very end.
I'm not so detail-oriented about who wins the point, Lauren.
Nice lobs by Kira, pulling Amy Shea all the way behind her partner. And then, look, then that wide ball is open. Very well done.
And I'll tell you, that was a masterful forehand paced shot from Kiro in that ad court. She had Shea well off the net, and she hit that ball that we were talking about. She has that ability to hit that dipping forehand.
Yeah,
so many players I see just swing too fast and hit too flat, and then it becomes like a 50-50 shot. Kiro just hit the shot that she knew was going to work, and it forced an error from Shea.
Good spot there on the return. It's a very tough volley for Sutter.
As a lefty.
Yep.
Because she's lined up on her backhand volley there. To flip her paddle over is tough, especially with her grip a little bit. She doesn't have a grip that lends itself to her paddle moving back and forth freely. She's got to make grip changes to go from a forehand volley to a backhand volley, whereas some of the other top players, you don't see that.
Sutter, we are tied at 2.
Good hold from Sutter. That was a pretty important game.
Yep, and they kind of hit a few more balls over to Petrini just to test her patience right there. Petrini, not her best game. She tagged that two-handed backhand. She had the ball of life on her two-handed backhand and missed going wide. I think the next time she gets that, she might go right at a player, and that's really what you have to remember on a paddle court. Oftentimes, not trying to go around the players, but rather go at them. And if they're a righty, off to right side. See if you can't get them to force a chicken wing type of volley. A real awkward spot for a righty volleyer.
That time it was Kiro and Petrini who couldn't handle the pace of their opponent.
Sorry. 15-30.
Love the move in from Shea. Love the rip from Sutter out of that two-scorer and the return to serve with her two-handed backhand. Love the movement of Amy Shea moving forward in that bright pink.
And we say this all the time. I mean, just seeing the player come forward out of the corner of your eye often is enough to make you miss the volley.
And, you know, Lauren, sometimes when I talk to club level players who watch the action here and they like, what does it take to win a point? I say maybe 5 really, really good drives in a row. Because the top players they just typically don't get broken down on the first, second, or third volley.
30, 40.
And it's
Sometimes.
a gift when you get one.
Yeah, the first volley sometimes when you're coming in and you
Sure.
saw that there. But yes.
That's the
Right.
most difficult volley to handle in the sport, in my opinion.
Yep. No argument here.
Yep, you have to serve in the box, and everyone knows that might possibly be the best drive opportunity they get in a point.
Is that Amy Shea's backhand? Oh, great get by Perini.
I'll tell you, Perini and Kiro, if I was coaching them right now, we had a timeout, I would say, all of a sudden, Shea and Sutter, you know, the tempo that they're hitting, boom, 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 drive, 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 they've got to move their wall forward so that they're a little closer to the net on their volleys. I mean, they shouldn't even worry about a lob beating them right at this point with the shot coming out of Shea and Sutter. And Lauren, what I mean by that is, like, you have to continually adjust your tactics during a match. And you can kind of start off with, you know, positioning and let you cover 80% of traditional shots, let's call it. But all of a sudden, if a team's firing away and you're making some volley errors, I always think that's when you have to move forward and really get down so you absorb the shot, have a little more control of the volley.
A long way to go.
Yeah, and great combination of shots from Shea and Sutter, and the lob. You know, Petrini went and just kind of swung at a ball and just hit it back like she would on a Wednesday morning playing. But you don't get away with that on a Friday morning. Not at the Philly Grand Prix or the Philly Tour event.
Well, Sutter had a good look at that one. I think Kiro and Petrini should slow their overheads down in this point. What overheads?
Shea and Sutter.
Right, it's become a drive volley match now, and that's why I'm saying that's where I think it's going to be so critical for Petrini and Kira to pack it in, you know, really work as a team, going side to side a bit more than we've seen, and really getting closer to the net when they know the drive's coming.
What a volley.
Game, Shea and Sutter. They lead the second set, 3-2.
So it's in.
That was like the game in the first set that long game at 2-2 that Kiro and Petrini won. This time it goes for Shea and Sutter.
Yeah, and you could see that was another opportunity to talk about positioning or lack of shifting. You know, the shot went over to Jolene, and Petrini and Kira just kind of basically stood there and were confident as high-level rackets players that they could handle the next shot. But that's the problem. Even if you handle it, you're going to have a tendency to volley the ball short, which then creates another better offensive opportunity for the baseline team. And that's why my belief always in those situations is you got to close in. You got to keep those volleys deeper and, you know, lower bouncing volleys.
It's not always the first shot that you're at a position that gets you in trouble. It's the cumulative effect that leads to the next and the next until you're done.
Lauren, as we're gearing up for nationals, the APTA introduced PTI Nationals a year ago, and we've had some events. A couple events were held in the last couple weekends. Such an exciting time for the sport for club level players. And you know, if you have a PTI and it doesn't matter what the number is, we've got a national tournament that you can compete in. And whether you play with your partner as a team, as a doubles team, or you jump into team nationals out in Chicago the first weekend in April. Mike Raleigh will be running the women's team nationals. Dave Broderick, Greg Morgan will be running the men's team's nationals out of Fiddler's Elbow in Bedminster the exact same weekend. So that's the opportunity where Lauren, watch out, I might call you up and recruit you on my team. You get people within a 15-point range on PTIs, and you'll get slotted in by Amin Kaduri and Sam Byron and the amazing efforts on the PTI tournament committee, and you'll battle it out. You'll play a couple matches, and then they'll have the semis and finals of team nationals Sunday mornings for both those events. Such an exciting time for the sport of platform tennis.
Yeah, and amazing to know you'll get all that good competition right at your level.
Lauren, and that's why the PTIs are a brilliant creation, having an index for players so that they don't have to go and play in a tournament. Could you imagine, like, club-level players coming up against Petrini and Kiro and trying to handle a first volley? It's just such a, it's just such a top-heavy type of scenario. And by having PTI level events, we can get likability levels, competing against each other, a much fairer playing ground, in my opinion. And then you work your way up, just like what tennis does, and exactly how pickleball has, successfully grown.
Yep. 15:30 here.
30 all.
So, Lauren, you think I'm kidding. I want you on my PTI team. But I'm going to wait like 5 more years, okay?
Okay.
Are there age group PTI teams?
I'll still be walking then.
Exactly. This return will tell us a lot about Kiro's nerves and how comfortable she is right now.
Yeah, I mean, she's getting a good crack at all of Sutter's serves.
Sutter has the advantage of being one of the few lefty players, so her ball does spin a little bit differently, but I can't see that it impacts Kiro on the return serve.
There's not a lot of spin on it, but
Kiro Petrini.
she hit a good return, Patty, and we're at 3-all.
All.
And that's the problem. Sometimes the return of serve becomes better than the serve, and that's where, staying back is not a horrible thing if you're struggling over time on that first volley. But like we said, everybody struggles with the first volley, unless you're Mark Parsons from time to time. Shea spotted Petrini moving a little bit to the middle there and took that shot. Problem with down the line drives, the net is a little bit higher as you get by those posts.
30.
I think she took her eye off it, Amy Shea. She saw Petrini moving, and then she forgot about focusing on the drive. Okay, 15-30.
David Chelson wants to know if he can join our PTI team. I told him I hope his game has really changed since the last time I've seen him. Because, Dave, sadly, I do not think it's mixed play right now, and I do not believe. But we do need a water boy.
Wow.
We like snacks, too, David Chelson. Up there in Maine. Hi, Deb. Hi to Deb and David. Hall of Famer, Dave Chelson.
Yo. 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 Yo.
Really good hands from Shea to keep that ball down low.
Jay Sutter lead 4-3.
Amy Shea didn't like that shot, but they got the game.
Yeah, Kira was a little bit too juicy. She kind of, I think, couldn't believe her good fortune that that ball landed there. And I think that's another thing players learn as the top players, you know, when that ball bounces short, you don't have to swing right away. Let that ball just rise up a little bit, and you're going to get a higher contact point and real potential to do damage to the opposition right there.
Okay, this is danger time for Petrini and Kiro. They got to play a slightly sloppy game there. They have to get themselves right back on track, or this set's going to be over before they know it.
15, love.
The wind has kicked up in Philly. See if that becomes a factor here in the second set. Lauren, is your hair blowing?
In my basement in New York? No.
Oh, come on. That's where you are? I thought you were next to me in the hut here at manufacturers. Shout out to our buddy Mo Morrison, who's enjoying the action out in Chicago.
Yeah, I don't like that one, Patty.
30,
What-
love.
What didn't you like about it?
She was sort of chasing it while she hit it. I just didn't think she had a good play on it. And even if she did, Amy Shea was right on top of the net there.
Yeah, you saw Petrini going for that ball. I saw her grip go over to a semi-western, and I was thinking, oh no,
30,
wrong grip,
15.
wrong shot. And I only say that because that's a phenomenal grip. She can pummel her forehands when the ball's in front of her, a little shorter in the court. When she's moving to her right toward that side screen, all of a sudden the degree of difficulty goes way up on that shot. And to no end, as you pointed out, Shea was right there for the shot.
Forty, 15.
Okay, 2 points for 5-3.
Percentage-wise, from the quarter semifinals on, Amy Shea, what would be your guess over the years? Let's go 1 decade back. How many matches has she played? How many matches has she played that have been 2 sets versus 3 sets? A disproportionate number of 3-setters would be my guess.
Yeah, and she wins a disproportionate number of those 3-setters.
Absolutely. I only remember because I always have to make sure I eat a whole sandwich before we go on the air for a match with Amy Shea.
They lead the second set 5-3.
Well, you know, look, these are great players, Shea and Sutter, and you knew they weren't going to go down here without a fight, no matter how well their opponents played. And Kiro and Petrini are going to have to do something special to win this match. They can. They've showed us that they can. But it's not easy to maintain that level. I like the way Kiro and Petrini call every overhead. Oop, no, that's wide.
Love, 15.
Yeah, tough angle. I talked about how Kiro had really was pretty masterful on her overheads early in that first set, just hitting that ball kind of like a lazy type of overhead, letting the ball drop a little bit, controlling the pace and the depth against Shea. But right there, just didn't recognize that she had an awful angle.
Love,
That
30.
always looks like there's much more room there hitting from the deuce court to the deuce alley than there is.
And Lauren, that's also playing the score, knowing what situation you're in, recognizing the moment, and that has to inform some of your shot selection. That's just a little bit of experience.
30, 15, 30.
I like it, a little different look for Shea on the return. Great move from Sutter.
And that was the right forehand to hit. That's where she really shines with that forehand. She had time, she could step in.
Good. 30.
All right, good job by Kira and Petrini here. They were down 30 love. It looked like the set was over, and now they have a game point to make it 5-4.
Game, Kira Petrini. Shea Sutter leads. Second set, 5-4.
There's no easy points to be had for Shea Sutter in this match because of the athleticism that Petrini and Kiro possess. I mean, they've made some great hands plays. They're pretty speedy. I don't think that speed's a factor at this point, but I just think their just racket skills are phenomenal. And they can volley high balls, low balls, balls out of their reach, and they can keep the ball under control for the most part.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, this second set, a little bit more play over to the deuce side where you see Vanessa Petrini throwing up the lob. She's done a really good job. She's been the real steady of the two players here. But Kiro's totally steadied out in this second set, Lauren.
Yeah. I mean, after the first few games of the first set, she really had. Petrini's done a very good job defending that corner at this point. She's had a lot of difficult balls to deal with.
Lauren, I mentioned that first time I saw Petrini hit the ball, and I watched her forehand, backhand. She came up to the net. I watched her hit like naturally a roller overhead. And the other point I made to Dave Broderick, I go, do you remember Lauren Zink? She sort of reminded me a little bit of Lauren. Lauren is in the Hall of Fame. 2-time mixed national champ, 3-time women's champ. Won twice with her husband, George. But Petrini possesses similar types of skills, and physically they're around the same height. Real similar appearance of their strokes. A lot in common.
That was a poor shot selection from Kiro. I think she could have taken a crack at that one, Patty.
Yeah, or just let it go to Petrini. I don't think she had to come over that far. She hasn't come that far over for most of the match. I just don't know if she needs to do that at all for the way they're playing. They're matching up beautifully, just the way they've kind of set themselves up from the baseline. With Kira really blocking up that at-court corner and putting a lot of pressure with her forehand drive. I mean, that was a big-time, real smart, mature play from Kira. She put an off-speed ball. She saw the opening. She didn't slam a topspin forehand. She just kind of, hit a little shorter backswing, shorter follow-through. Gave them the net.
30-15.
Just that overhead wide.
Good time for a chat for Shea and Sutter. Is there ever a bad time for a chat?
You took the words out of my mouth.
What do you want to do?
Well, but truthfully, this is where you really want to bear down. Make no mistakes here. Know where your partner's serving, where you're going.
Two set points for Shea and Sutter here to take it into a three-setter.
All right, there's one set point saved.
Yeah, Sutter got the ball she wanted, really.
Good spot on the return.
Really a good spot. Just caused a lot of indecision there from Sutter. Just couldn't quite figure out, was she going to play it as a forehand or a backhand? And we are at deuce. Jolene Sutter serving. Amy Shea at the net in pink. Vanessa Petrini returning serve, and that's Lynn Kiro out of the ad court.
Advantage, Shea Sutter.
Yeah, Petrini, I mean, has made 90% of her deck balls on her forehand, I would say. Just a rough time to come up with that. Set point number 3, I believe.
It was a good move that Sutter stayed back there on that return.
Yep, agreed.
Come on!
Game, Shea Sutter. They won the second set, 6-2, 6-4. We're tied at 1-1 in sets.
We're in for an amazing, what's going to play out to be a third set, another three-setter with Amy Shea involved. We'll be right back in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel presented by eNet Live.
Great job. Hey, good stuff to you.
Patty, good job.
Yeah, a lot of fun. You guys look great out there. How long have you been playing?
Who, me? Oh, I've been playing my whole life. How about you?
Wow, I only started playing when I retired.
Someone say retired?
Looking good out there, Eli.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the APTA Tour. I'm Patty Hogan along with Lauren Mandel, bringing you the Philly Open. This is a round of 16s match in the women's event, featuring tournament number 2 seeds, Amy Shea and Jolene Sutter, up against the young and upcoming team of Vanessa Petrini and Lynn Kiro. Petrini and Kiro got off to a great start, took the first set 6-3. Shea and Sutter came back, as they have always done, and they're making, they won that second set 6-4. We are headed into a third. Lauren, we talked about what an amazing tournament this is. We'll talk about it a little bit more in depth. The Philly Open, Philadelphia loves their platform tennis. You can see a good shot at the draw on what's ahead for these players. But Philadelphia just has decades and decades of some of the most passionate players, organizers in the game. And the tradition continues here out of manufacturers with tournament director Scott Falatek. And we've got 3 days of play here. This is the last huge event besides Birchwood out in Chicago, leading up to the national championships on Long Island. You can see, take a good look at the national rankings here. We can take a quick look at everything. I don't know if everybody's speed readers out there like I've learned to become as an APTA announcer, but here's a good shot at the national rankings. And, we honor the Zabori and Flor Hanisch, just an outstanding season, undefeated in 6 events thus far, taking a break this weekend, resting up for national championships. And we talked about, when we went on the air, the importance of this tournament and this tournament result, as players might not travel to Birchwood for the event out in Chicago right before nationals. So those players who are in here, particularly those really vying for a top spot in the draw, trying to become one of the higher seeds to protect themselves to hopefully advance and have a great run at the national championships. And Shea and Sutter are one of those teams that, really need to keep going through this tournament and get through this round of 16 match. Petrini and Kiro, they're just such a joy to watch play. They are Jersey gals. Lauren played out of Rutgers. We talked about that. The shot selection, adjustments you can make in positioning. Anybody really can do well. If they've got the physical skills, which all 4 of these women have, then really anybody can win the match.
Yeah, we knew that this was not going to necessarily go according to the seeding. And what we also know is, as the new team on the block, Kiro and Petrini are going to be a very dangerous opponent for somebody early in the nationals draw.
Lauren, the great news is the sun's out in Philly. We had a passing storm, a lot of ice out there this morning. John Scott and the ENEC group, the crew did a great job getting all the cameras in position, all the technology in place, bring you a whole weekend of incredible paddle.
All.
Now, did Petrini serve first for their team, or did Kiro in the second set, in the first set? Do you recall?
Kiro did, and she started off the match, I believe.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Could be wrong. But I do think that the start of this first set is super important for Kiro and Petrini, more than it is for Shea and Seta, who are going to be in this third set no matter what the score is.
Yeah, and you know, we talk about pressure and how it shifts. You know, Shea and Sutter have to be amazingly relieved to get this into a third set.
30.
And so I expect them to kind of play a little bit more freely here, and you know, the pressure does shift back to Petrini and Kiro.
Great down the line shot by Sutter. She pulled Petrini so far over to the right that Kira had to move over and try to help her, and the whole down the line was open. Good recognition.
Yeah, Petrini had nowhere good to go with that overhead. Yeah. I almost think she could have let it bounce and played off the back screen. It was that good,
30,
deep of a lob.
40.
Yeah, great shot of that beautiful serving motion from Kiro. See, this is the thing. Petrini and Kiro have hands. I mean, they just handled that onslaught from Shea and Sutter beautifully.
Fun to see those exchanges with four players with good hands like this.
I mean, look at those two shots from Shea. Just pulling Kiro wide, side to side. Really good coverage from Kiro and Petrini. Great athleticism from Amy Shea right there.
That is a long way to go to hit an overhead.
Yeah.
Deuce.
I mean, Petrini and Kiro are a little lucky there, and I can, you know, that lob from the deuce court against any righty-righty team poses a problem if you can get that depth on it in women's play. And you see Petrini and Kiro, I mean, how they handle that could be the key to the third set. One of the keys.
Petrini, Kiro.
Another great exchange.
Yeah, and you see what Petrini did at the end of the point, Lauren? She just charged forward, just got on top of the net, put that ball down at Shea's feet.
Deuce.
So when this action is complete, we'll have another match coming up featuring Jessica Gallo, Jacqueline Williamson versus Jade Curtis and Martina Andreikova.
Good one.
Advantage, Petrini, Kiro.
That's the roller I don't like. It just gives Amy Shea, it doesn't make her move that much, and it just gives her so much pace to work with.
You know, I love the roller. I'm gonna say something else. I love the roller because it pulled Shea. It made her do something. And I think the mistake Kiro made actually was just not shifting over and playing it on her backhand. She just left way too big an opening for Shea. Where I think you will see top players induce each other into hitting a shot and then closing in to cover it. And so Kiro did part 1 of 2. Just forgot about the second part.
Just rove it a little more and hit it a little less hard. Done much better things for her. Forced her to play such a hard shot.
Yeah, but she's got game, Lauren.
Yeah.
She welcomes that shot. Yeah? I mean, if Shea hits a great shot, it gives Kiro an opportunity to hit another great shot. I think that's her mindset.
Kiro, they lead the third set 1-0.
That first game is any indication we're in for a treat in this third set, Patty.
Yeah, you know, you don't know who's going to be the one who's going to, you know, try to dictate play, take an initiative, force a little bit of the action. But right there, you know.
This match has been so close. There's been no, you know, anyone running off a string of games or anything. It's just been tight all the way through. They've just been very well matched.
Yeah, you said whoever gets a good, you know, start out of the box here in this third set is going to be key. And the fact that Kiro and Petrini, and, you know, the key for them is to stay in the moment. Don't think too far ahead. Just continue to play. Point at a time, game at a time.
I thought we missed 2 points.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was fast.
Yeah. Where did those 2 points go? Love 15. That is a big forehand.
And that's that spot. You know, Sutter's so far over. A little bit of an exaggerated backhand volley grip, I'll call it, Lauren. And so then really hard to go to her forehand, and then you have a loss of range once you get to a certain point on her left side, being that she is a lefty. Kudos to Kiro for finding the spot.
Yeah, she's dialed right into that spot, and she's hitting it so hard. Petrini like that back. Just a little lack of footwork there.
This will be interesting to see what spot Kiro's thinking about on her return here. She knew what she broke down Jolene Sutter at the net, the lefty on that last return of serve. We'll see what she does here. That's a lot of pressure to withstand. That's boom, 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 you know, side to side to side. A lot of pressure with those drives from Petrini and Kiro. Forced a volley error.
Control those, yeah, hard to control those real super hard drives like that.
Really smart shot from Petrini to go up the line. She had a little bit of room over there because of Sutter's position.
40.
Wow.
Huh?
Big time shot from Amy Shea, of course.
And at a crucial moment to keep her in her service game.
Right now, I just would want to serve the ball. I don't like chatting right before I have to serve on a big point. I never like that.
left quarter winner.
They lead 2-0.
You know, you can see Kiro is doing a great job of blocking up the screens in that ad-court corner. That's where she's a little bit inexperienced. But Shea and Sutter, you know, can't really hurt her on their overheads here. And Kiro's just blocking it up. And when things are going your way, you know, even the let courts seem to go your way. And Kiro and Petrini find themselves up 2-0 on Shea and Sutter in the third set. Lauren, I hate to put you on the spot, but not really, because I know you can handle anything I throw your way. All right, what does Shea and Sutter do now? What do you think? Is it anything different, or is it just
I think, you
not
know,
making errors?
yeah, I think they just keep trying to avoid putting themselves in positions where they're giving, well, not, they don't want to make errors, but they have to avoid putting themselves in positions where they're giving Kiro and Petrini drives. They're not hitting them at the net, Kiro and Petrini. So, but they are hurting them from the back. And Shea and Sutter by no means out of this match. I mean, this is still can go either way. I still don't see anyone as having the advantage here in the set, even though Kiro and Petrini are up 2-love.
Right, little nervous serve from Petrini, understandable under these circumstances.
15-30.
Yup, and again, good return, good pressure from Shea. In the bright pink, both of them in bright pink moving in and definitely distracting Petrini on the first volley. Big time serve right here from Petrini. Kiro really got her team in a tough spot there because she moved way over to her left and then left that ball in the middle screen and really gave Shea a ball of life off the screen to kind of set up her sequence of shots that they ended up winning.
Shea Sutter, Petrini, Kiro lead 2-1.
Nice game from Shea Sutter. They just stayed very much within themselves and lots of margin and played a good game.
Yep, got a little lucky on that nick there. Petrini swung on that ball. Probably, you know, that's kind of a ball that you typically would let go out to your partner, and the partner acts as the trailer on the play, and oftentimes will just throw up a lob from the other court.
That's an experienced play, Patty.
Team Shea Sutter. This is the 8th game, so I would like.
We're in the third set at Philly. You see a nice, we see paddlepro.com if you guys need anything paddle related, any racket sport related, sneakers, anything you name it, they've got it. Go to paddlepro.com. Hey, Lauren, I have a question for you to field from our audience. The one and only Ron Cummins has a question for you. He said, if you're Petrini and Kiro and you get a short lob, why don't you hit it at Amy Shea over hitting it at Jolene Sutter? What's the danger of hitting that ball at Amy Shea? Have you learned over the years, Lauren?
Terrible stories about that. Yes, I mean,
15.
I mean, Amy is so precise and, you know, has probably the best accuracy, putting that ball exactly on what board she wants to do, that she's very good at putting you in an awkward volleying position. So you don't want to give her a drive. You can help it.
Yeah, you kind of just go with the percentage, and I always think about, okay, who am I going to be better off hitting the ball to?
30.
And, that's the respect that Amy Shea has earned and gets from opposition.
Yeah.
Lauren, are you still in your basement, or have you gone to an underground bunker?
No, I'm still in my basement.
Okay.
Why, do I sound funny?
Well, I think you're back from the bunker now. Wow, Amy Shea moving her grip way over. A roller, Lauren.
Yeah, she's worked on that.
Not seen that often from Shea, and kudos to her for working on adding another new shot to her game.
15-30.
And that's the thing that makes great players great, Lauren. They finish a season, they'll have a couple points that will stick out going in the off season, think about what they have to work on, what shots, and here you have Amy Shea, who's done so much in this sport in terms of her tournament wins, and here she is at this point, adding a roll type of overhead to her arsenal.
The best example of that was many years ago when the bowling started becoming such a big Gabby and Roxy and Nika, and they were just killing Amy Shea and Cynthia Dardis with that play. And Amy and Cynthia worked so hard on it, and they learned how to counter it and beat them. And it was really interesting to watch.
Here, right there, Sutter hit that overhead right to Vanessa Petrini on her backhand, and Vanessa loves that shot. But it's an interesting thing because sometimes I think great athletes, and I think Petrini and Kira are great athletes, they do better when they're moving. Sometimes the shot is right at someone's body and get them to hit a totally flat-footed ground stroke, and it resulted in an error for Petrini. Great hands, great pressure. Wow.
30-40. Dave, Petrini, Kiro, they lead the third set 3-1.
So here we are. We have a match on our hands. This is really exciting. Just from a fan's perspective, and I'm one of the ultimate paddle fans. I love watching up-and-coming teams. I love watching the veteran teams. I love watching how they match up, who handles what well, where the problem spots emerge, and I'll just tell you, Kira and Petrini are right in this, having now they're off to a 3-1 lead in the third set, and I mean in it only in terms of, holy cow, they have shown up to play today. You know, from the beginning of the match, we talked about they've shown a lot of poise to me and maturity out here, real calm, and kudos to Petrini for taking the lead in that. I really felt she helped her teams, settle down things, and to your point, Kira's just gotten better and better, and I was just thinking going in the third set, if Kira's level goes up to 20%, they win this match.
Well, they certainly have the advantage right now.
15 love.
as we said, the winner of this match will move forward in the draw, coming up against Allison Morgan and Charlotte Sikora.
Love.
Strives by Amy Shea, but Kiro and Petrini are just getting those volleys from everywhere.
Shout out to my buddy Mary Chambers down in Easton, Maryland, enjoying the action.
Love.
Nothing that Kiro and Petrini would like more than a quick,
Holy cow.
easy game here, right?
That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah.
We've not had one game like this.
No.
Game, Petrini, Kiro. They lead the third set 4-1.
Patty, I did not see this coming in this third set.
Yeah, I think that, we talked about, you get that split. We know Shea is infamous for playing really long 3-set matches. I believe we went on the air at 2 hours and 9 minutes ago, Lauren. Not that I'm counting, but this is exactly what we did expect, a long match here. And, because of the performance that Kiro and Petrini had at Short Hills, they made a believer out of me. And, I've seen Vanessa play. This is the first time I'm really seeing a lot of Lynn Kiro. I've seen her hit a couple balls, but so impressed. And it is going their way here. And you feel a little bit of a loss of energy from Sutter and Shea right now, Lauren.
Though. I mean, Amy Shea always looks like that, and she'll fight to the very end here. I am very impressed with the way Petrini and Kiro have kept their calm and have just come out and really played a very smart and well-executed third set so far.
30.
That's that very awkward spot for Jolene Sutter. That's just impossible almost for her to make that volley from there. And now Kiro and Petrini have won like 10 points in a row.
I think they're rolling because Dave Brock and Marissa started watching the live stream, Lauren. I think Petrini's getting a lot of energy.
As soon as they said that, they lost the point, of course.
Announcer's curse. Talked earlier about, Petrini and Kiro right here. This is where they just really have to stay disciplined, control their pace of play, 1 point at a time, point after point after point. Great lob out of that ad court from Kiro, yeah.
Petrini, Kiro, they lead the third set 5-1.
We have an upset brewing at the Philly Open.
Yeah.
Not a surprise to people in Jersey, Lauren. I gotta say.
It's
Sven
only a surprise.
Sven Burrow called for a Petrini Kiro win.
It's only surprising that this third set has gone very, very quickly. I mean, we knew that this was going to be a good match, and we saw nothing, very little separated these teams in the first 2 sets, but this has been a romp, this third set.
30.
Kind of an uncharacteristic response from Shea and Sutter, just in some of their errors.
But it's not over.
Love
So right here, really fast game. Petrini's definitely thinking a little bit ahead here. She's got a kind of, right now, I mean, I love the little quick chat from Kiro going back and just get in this game. You cannot let any game go mentally.
15-40.
Yeah, as anyone who's ever played paddle knows, the games can go quickly. You can start losing games in bunches. You don't want to give anything away.
Game, Petrini Kiro. Petrini Kiro lead the third set 5-2.
So I think the umpire meant game Shea Sutter. Right there. We're at 5-2 third set. Philly Open, round of 16 match.
Let's go, my girl.
Coming up at the conclusion of this will be more women's action quarterfinal play. Gio Williamson up against Curtis and Andreeva. Lauren, did I screw up the score?
5-2.
Thanks. I thought I was seeing things.
5-2.
Again, Shea and Sutter taking a lot of time. Actually, that serves to the benefit, I think, of Kira and Petrini, because it just keeps it kind of going, you know, at a controlled pace for them. Lauren, we're at 5-2. If we ended up with a tiebreaker, it wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, this is the time in this sort of match where I like to, I'm embarrassed to mention that Joe Vian and I once played Amy Shea and Cynthia Dardis, and we're up 5-love, 40-love in the set and lost it. So it's not even close to being over as far as I'm concerned. However, if Kiro and Petrini keep playing the level they've played in this match, they're going to win it.
30-love.
Wow, beautiful movement from Shea coming out of that deuce corner. Just a rare sight. A rare sight in that we never see Amy Shea in the deuce court.
She really threaded the needle with that drive.
40-love.
Yeah, Petrini went a little big on that return. Really good serve from Sutter, I would say. Moved Vanessa over and kind of forced that drive.
Game, Shea Sutter. Petrini Kiro lead 5-3 in the third set. Love 15.
Yeah, Kira went big there up the tee, just a little long. It's hard to serve it out.
Fence it out. Good dig by Shea, good dig by Sutter.
outstanding volleys from Kira and Petrini at that point. They handled about 11 difficult volleys right there, all in 1 point. If I have 11 in a week, I'm lucky.
Greater lobbing error from Amy Shea. Two match points, Patty. There it is.
What a win for Petrini Kira over our tournament number 2 seeds. Shea Sutter 6-3, 4-6, 6-3. Lauren, any last words here before we part ways?
It's great to see this up-and-coming team ride, Patty, and it's going to be fun to see how they do in the rest of the tournament. Thanks.
You bet. That's a wrap here, and we'll be back shortly with quarterfinal action on eNet Live. I'm Patty Hogan with Lauren Mandel signing off. That's a wrap.